don't know how to start a video, but I'm Hootless, and this is Stardew Valley 1.3 modded 1.3. I don't remember the wording. Episode not 3, like 5 or 4, somewhere in there. I don't know. I kind of lose track. What's the weather? It's gonna rain all day tomorrow, and it's foggy again. It's weird that it's so foggy when I'm recording these, because I don't think we've ever seen it be foggy in multiplayer. I'm going to turn down the music just a smidge. Just turn that right down. There we go. Getting a tiny bit of lag here. Hopefully that goes away pretty quickly. Probably just the fog. But since the last time that I did a video, I removed the fishing overhaul mod that added the display up in the corner here. You can see that it's no longer there when I hold my fishing rod. And I kept the extreme fishing overhaul because I find it more interesting. And we also installed better garden pots. The thing in the description, the link, may or may not be updated. I have no idea. I don't even know if I'll keep posting it or just, I don't know, post it every 10 episodes or whatever, and you guys can try to keep up by installing the mods yourself. It's not too hard to install mods. I just forget to update the list. Well, we've watered our crops, so I guess we're just gonna fish. I've decided to try and go for like crab pots as our main source of income. It should work pretty well once I actually get into having crab pots. Like, first of all, we need money, and then we can start getting crab pots, but like not very many because they're pretty expensive. So I will probably do that. I don't remember. It's possible that the price for buying crab pots goes down after you get the profession. I don't remember. I know that it becomes less expensive to craft, but probably still slightly out of reach. Oh, that fish just like slowly went all the way to the top. It's an original flaky obese ray. Interesting. Some of these fish have crazy names. And if you downloaded the mod pack from the description, you'll have the same seed that I do for Extreme Fishing Overhaul. If you have a different seed, you won't get the same fish. I'm going to go fish in the ocean actually, because I haven't really seen those fish yet. I've seen a lot of the river fish. But if you have a different seed, it'll generate completely different fish. So don't be surprised if your seed is like different, and then you end up with different fish from what I have it here. Ooh, a dried starfish. And a clam too. I should really buy a bigger backpack soon. For now it's fine. 9 a.m. Willie's open, so we can go offload some of these things. Gonna keep the dried starfish, of course, because I want to donate that to the museum. Get access to the sewer as quickly as possible. This feels like it is probably a custom fish. Nope, just a herring. For some reason those feel like harder to catch than normal. Seaweed. Not, you know, not terrible, I guess. Better than catching trash. I haven't actually caught trash in quite a while. I might have caught it in a recent episode on here, but when I was playing on multiplayer, I like never caught trash for some reason. I could still get the algae, but the trash just wasn't showing up. And it seems to be following suit on here. Maybe there's like a configuration option in Extreme Fishing Overhaul that's making it so that you can't get trash. Something like that. Also, I'll elaborate a little bit on what Better Garden Pots does, because I mentioned that we installed it. What it does is you can get garden pots after you finish the bundle that gives you the greenhouse, and like after it's finished being constructed so you can use it. I believe you go outside and Evelyn gives you a garden pot, and you can plant crops in it. If you place the pots inside or like in buildings, you can plant out-of-season crops in them. Normally, you can't water them with sprinklers, so you have to water them by hand every day. And they don't count for bees, for bee houses. However, the Better Garden Pots mod changes both of those things, so you can not only water them with sprinklers automatically each day, but also you can have them count for bee houses. Both of which I felt like were positive changes. The sprinkler one maybe less so, but I do really like that they will now count for bee houses, and we might get some bee houses up and running eventually. I've never really gotten too far into that, but I probably should. Especially with Automate installed, we can put chests next to the bee houses and just automatically harvest the honey. I don't imagine that they'll have like a crazy amount of honey produced, but if we set up a whole bunch of bee houses, then maybe we'll get a decent amount of profits from it. I'm also going to be trying to put down at least a bunch of crab pots and connecting those all together with Automate so that we can pull all of the goods out and into a chest and then automatically process all of the trash into, you know, various things. Sadio. Various things based on what the trash is, and we'll get a bunch of stuff from that. Plus all the fish that you can catch, of course, should make it fairly profitable to do crab pots now. It would be, you know, the same amount of profitability as if you did it yourself, except that it can be automated now. So I imagine you could probably set it up so you just have to run all over the place collecting from every crab pot every day. And if you did that, you'd probably make just as much. But this way, it just becomes a passive source of income, which does kind of throw out the scale of the game a little bit, you know? It becomes super easy to get lots of money, but such is the case with mods in general. Usually they add new methods of doing things, and that tends to make it too easy. The solution for that, I find, is normally just, you know, add more endgame content to do that requires a lot of money. I'm gonna sell some of these fish so that I can actually catch things again. But, yeah, you know, someone will get there with mods eventually. Just be able to, man, does not sell for much. Be able to do the thing. Should probably start getting crab pots. I can buy 2 of them. I'll wait until we get the profession at level 5 fishing, and we'll see if that makes it so that I can buy them for cheaper. I think, if I remember correctly, the price goes down to maybe 500 each, in which case that'll be a lot more reasonable. And even if it doesn't go down once we get the reduced crafting price, right, reduced crafting materials cost, we'll be able to make them for like wood and copper, I think, which is totally reasonable. Oh, this fish does not want to be caught. Fish, come back here. Some of the random fish are a little bit difficult to catch because they are random, so some of them get generated with a lot of difficulty, or it doesn't even take that much difficulty really. If they have the dart movement type, if I can catch a fish, I'll hover over it and show the stats. All the random fish have the stats visible when you hover over them, but if they have the dart movement type, I believe, or I think there's another one maybe, then it doesn't take that much difficulty to be pretty hard to catch. I think the other one might be mixed, and maybe there's one more that's difficult. But floater's not that bad, and I believe there's another one that's relatively simple to catch. There might only be the 4 though, or the 3. That's a sardine, does not have the stats. Does have energy though. That seems to be a thing that the random fish have in common, really, is that most of them seem to provide like no energy or massively negative energy. Makes them a lot worse to catch than normal fish. I wish that the trade-off was that they were worth more, so that, you know, you could catch less fish in a day because you can't eat the fish as you're going along, but in exchange they're worth more. Instead, it just ends up being they aren't worth really anything, and also they don't provide any energy. Kind of a bad trade-off. I don't know if you can customize it at all. I don't believe so. I think there's like 3 or 4 lines that you can edit. I'm not really getting any custom fish out here, except for those ones I caught when I was still fishing over there. They're all hiding. On the other save, I get them like all the time. This one is an anchovy. Nope, still not getting anything. Except for vanilla fish, whatever you want to call them. Ah, the ambient noises are so nice here. This repeated sprite is also nice. But, you know, I mean, that's probably a pretty common... Oh, okay, I wasn't paying attention because I was looking at the waves. That's probably a pretty common practice, right? Just using the same few tiles, so you end up with, like, repeats of the same texture over and over. With the same grass. The same small stone. Big stone, big stone, big stone. It's all the same. It's also, you can kind of see the edges of each tile if you look at the water long enough. I'll point it out here in a second. Like, you can see that the border is kind of like this. You can see a line. But that happens with most things. When I've tried doing, like, tiling in the past for my own things, it always ends up pretty noticeable. Because things that don't seem noticeable on individual tiles can end up being extremely noticeable if you have a bunch of them together, even if it wasn't something you did on purpose. Like, a line through the center ends up being a huge vertical line dividing it horizontally. Or a diagonal line, and it becomes super obvious because it's like only slightly darker, so you can't really tell on an individual tile. But with many of them put together, you can clearly see the lines, and you can kind of see that here. Like, you can see the darker lines in between, and then it's got kind of a another cross in the opposite direction, and then tiles of lighter water in the middle. But, like I said, hard to avoid that, unless you're a really skilled artist. And obviously, Eric Barone. Eric Barone? Concerned Ape, the person who made this. He's very talented with pixel art in general. Like, this house looks super good. Some things could use some work, though. Most notably, the like the computers in the intro, way too big. But, you know, it only shows up once, and it's to emphasize, like, so you can see what's on the screen. Or the truck in town, the delivery truck at JoJo as well. But the truck next to Mayor Lewis's is, like, super big. Because if it was smaller, it would probably also look weird. And it's not on your screen often enough to be off-putting very much. Because you don't see it very often, so, you know, you don't really think about it for the most part. But it always bothers me whenever that's on the screen, because it just looks so big, and everything else is so, like, you know, scaled properly. This house looks nice, though. This barrel looks okay, I guess. Kind of weird that he'd just have an iron barrel of seawater with seaweed dripping out of it right there. You'd think maybe he'd clean it up a little bit. But I guess he just got back into town, didn't he? Isn't that... I haven't read the mail in so long. But I'm pretty sure the letter that Willie sends you, plus the cutscene that you get, is like him saying he just got back into town after a voyage. Ooh. Got that screen flicker as it turned foggy, and now it is so hard to see. I think this fog mod must be broken in multiplayer, because we've played 22 days, I think, in multiplayer, and it has never been foggy even once. Whereas in this series, we're on the 4th day and it's been foggy like 8 times, because it always starts out foggy and then goes away and then comes back. So it's got to be broken in multiplayer right now. Ooh, cute llama sea god. So finally we got one. You can see price 6. That's the actual gold it sells for, by the way. So, like, I'll sell all these fish in the shipping bin so we can take a look, but they are worth, like, almost nothing. This was difficulty 27, fish type floater, level requirement 3, gives 4 energy and 1 health, and that's pretty much how most of the fish in this mod go. Like, you know, they don't have very good stats, they aren't worth a lot of money, and they're kind of hard to catch, somewhat, usually, depending on the random numbers. I just wish that the numbers were cranked up a bit for the price, or like the difficulty cranked down. Let's get rid of the seaweed. I don't really want to waste any of this food, but I'm running out of inventory space. I mean, I guess really at this point I might as well just sell this. Well, I want to use it as an example in the shipping bin. Why is it so hard to talk? So I won't destroy it utterly, but I'll keep it. Hey, it's a halibut. Okay, this is going in place of the sardine though, and we're gonna go back to the house. Just keep an eye out for any worm patches while we're on our way, I suppose. I don't think there'll be any, really. Not in town, at least. There are a few spots where they can spawn. I think you can get worms in there. You can get worms north of this house. Also, apparently, it's, like, pretty difficult. I don't know where the pathing is. Is that worms? No, just a bit of grass. I don't know where the pathing is in town exactly. I can probably find a map, though. And with the Automate mod, you can put chests next to trash cans and it'll automatically pull out whatever is in them each day, if anything. So that would be cool to do if I can make sure that they won't be in NPC paths, because of course if they are in an NPC path, then they'll get destroyed as the NPC walks through on their daily path. So we'll go to sleep. It's a little bit early, 9 p.m. We still have time for things, but it's fine. Level 4 fishing, nice. We got the recycling machine. That'll be important because we want to put those down when we start doing the crab pots. And if we look at the fishing thing, cute llama sea god, 7 gold. Did it say 7? I thought it said 6, but I guess it gave slightly more. And then you can see like a single anchovy was worth 37 gold at the same quality, so almost 5 times as much. Or more than 5 times as much. Nearly like 5.5 times as much. For a fish that was like... I guess it wasn't too hard to catch, wasn't it? It was one of those ones that just gently floated to the top. But still, I think that Extreme Fishing Overhaul would be a little bit better, at least, if the fish were worth more. But I think that it's just sort of a general thing in Stardew. And again, with Automate, you'll see these crab pots when I put them into action. It's going to be absolutely crazy. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this and you're enjoying the series, and I will see you guys all next time.